Well, right now, I don't think that they're in any position to franchise either one of those guys. I don't think they want. They have plenty of money under the cap, but I don't think they really want to franchise either one of those guys and shell out $14-15 million. Right now, it seems they're trying to work on a deal with JPP, where is a 1-year prove me type deal. Prove to me that you're worth a lot more money going forward. We'll give you money to play for us for 1 year, but we don't know what that hand is going to be like. You played with a club last season. You had another surgery to try and increase your dexterity in those fingers and be able to grab on and hold people, something he had a little bit of a problem with last season when he did play. And so that we'll see if that actually gets done. As far as Robert Ayers, here's a guy they'd like to bring back. I don't know what the market for him is going to be. I don't think it's in the $10 to $12 million range. I don't know what he's asking, but another guy that when JPP was on the field, he was very productive. So as far as those two guys, I think they want to bring both of them back. But, the reason why you don't hear much about going on with the draft is because they're going to be pretty active in free agency trying to bolster up that that defensive line, especially in the end position.
Who do you think they're looking at free agent-wise for that defensive line?
Oh, one of them got franchised, and that was Von Miller. I think he made it very clear that he wants to stay. The other guy is in Tampa, I believe, and it's right now it's up in the air. They're going to wait and see who's out there when the smoke clears with all the franchise tags and stuff, and we'll see which way they actually go. Whether they're going to try and increase their defensive end production from the draft, or if they'll go out and look for somebody in free agency. My guess is they'll do both.
Speaking of that draft, Noah Spence from Eastern Kentucky is a guy Mel Kiper mocked to the Giants with that number 10 pick. We hear he had an underwhelming combine when it comes to his interviews and some of his athleticism. Are the Giants interested in him at 10?
Yeah, that's a very good question. A very, very athletic guy, but one of those guys that the Giants usually shy away from only because of his off-the-field problems. Now, depending on his interviews, what he says to the Giants, and they are very, very particular and meticulous in trying to get to character. And if they find anything in his character that they don't like, they will not go in that direction. They've done it in the past. The last draft, they took many of the draft picks they picked were captains of their teams. This is a guy that was at Ohio State and had to leave the program because of his off-the-field problems and ended up at Eastern Kentucky. So we'll see, if the Giants go in that direction. There's other guys at that defensive end position that they can certainly tap into. Noah Spence is probably one of the biggest names. Clemson's Kevin Dodd, and of course, DeForest Buckner is a very, very big person at 6'7", 290.
Andrew Brill, he covers the Giants for 98.7 ESPN New York. Again, follow him on Twitter, Andrew F. Brill. It's at Andrew F. Brill. Andrew, Prince Mukamura, your feelings. Does he come back to the Giants?
At the right price, for sure. I think that he's a serviceable cornerback. He's not an elite cornerback, which is why they didn't go out and franchise him. He is very, very good. I wouldn't put him in the category of elite, but he is just below that. Love to bring him back at the right price. He was one of the highest paid Giants last season, and at the right price, I think the Giants would really like to bring him back. They'd also like to get a bunch of safeties to play behind them, but right now, I think they're going to let Prince test the market and see where that goes.
So far, we've hit the defensive line and the defensive secondary, but we know the Giants need help at linebacker, wide receiver, offensive lineman as well. What's the thing they should be targeting most?
I think that they're going to try and pick the left side of their line's pretty much set. You have your Richburg at center, you have Justin Pugh at left guard, and then, of course, Eric Flowers at left tackle. But you need a right guard. You let Jeff Schwartz go. A right guard. You need a right tackle, although they have Marshall Newhouse still there. I don't believe that he's the answer, but, I think that they try and do that a little bit. They need a tight end, and they need wide receivers. Where they go first, boy, that's anybody's guess. I think that they're going to go defensive line first and try and find a real good linebacker, but they also have to figure out the tight end and wide receiver position as well as that offensive line. They'd love to get a good tight end, and I think that they a lot of attention is being paid to Odell Beckham Jr. You don't know. It's a big question mark with Victor Cruz and what they're going to do with his contract. But my guess is they work something out and bring Victor back. But what he can give you on the field is a big question. And I think they're going to look for a wide receiver in the draft, somebody that can really come in and play right away.
Andrew, you know Jeff Schwartz, friend of our show, he used to join us every week, and he'll be back next football season, hopefully. Were you as shocked as we were that the Giants cut ties with him?
No, not at all. Given the injury history and the amount of time that he spent off the field, I'm not surprised that they didn't they let him go. Not at all. I think that they want to get a little bit younger on that side of the line. They did it on the left side. I think they want to retool the right side of that line. I'm not surprised at all that they let him go. Real good guy, real good locker room guy. But, as far as the health goes, that was the big concern with Jeff Schwartz.
Are the Giants going to go, you think, in the draft with the best player on the board, or are they going to go with, hey, we got a specific need and we're going to attack this position regardless?
Well, you can look at their team and they have specific needs everywhere. So, when Jerry Reese was asked that very, very specific question, he said, look, we always go best available. Now, if that best available fits a need, great. If it doesn't, we'll see if that best available, if we have a log jam at that position, then we'll go somewhere else. But usually he likes to go best available. He also said, judging from his previous drafts, which we know haven't been very good, they've changed things a little bit. Wouldn't elaborate on what they changed, but they said they changed things a little bit. So hopefully this draft is a little bit better than years past. And but they like best available. That's something they live by and something they stick to.
Andrew Brill, he covers the Giants for 98.7 ESPN in New York. And Andrew, we just found out a little earlier today that Mario Williams cut loose by the Bills. What's the likelihood in your mind that he could keep the same color scheme and just join the Giants?
I think that would be a pretty big pickup, Mario Williams, for the Giants. I think you're going to find that there's a bunch of guys that are going to be let go, guys that couldn't work out contracts, guys that wouldn't restructure, stuff like that. And I think that someone like Mario Williams would come in and be effective right off the bat. I mean, it's a position, a defensive end is a position that the Giants need help with. And here's a guy that maybe would come in at the right price and really help the Giants. And look, staying in the East Coast, and at least he doesn't have to go against the AFC East. He'll be in the NFC East.
104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio, joined by Andrew Brill. Follow him on Twitter at Andrew F. Brill. Andrew, it's early on in the Ben McAdoo era. What's your early impression of the new coach?
Early on, I wasn't thrilled with it, but after talking to him, and look, we don't get to talk to we get to talk to coordinators once a week. So, there wasn't, and it's about 5 minutes. So we didn't really know much about Ben McAdoo, but after spending a little bit more time with him after he got the job, hearing what he has to say, hearing the players talk about him, I think he's the real deal. He came from Green Bay. He's got that, he does talk a little bit more than we're used to. So, he seems like a good guy. He seems like a knowledgeable guy. Eli was really pulling for him to become the head coach, if that was the direction, if they ended up getting rid of Tom Coughlin, which they ultimately did. So I think that he's got this offense. Look, he had the offense playing very well. The offense wasn't the problem for this Giants team. So I think that Ben McAdoo, hopefully there won't be a lot of growing pains and he can get his coaches all on the same page. But I think Ben McAdoo has the potential to be a real good NFL coach.
Real good ESPN reporter for you right here, Andrew Brill. He covers the Giants, 98.7 ESPN in New York. Follow him on Twitter at Andrew F. Brill. Andrew, if it's cool with you, we're going to keep bothering you about the Giants throughout this whole offseason.
It'd be my pleasure to join you guys. Thanks very much for having me.
Well, we appreciate your time. Have a great day.
You too.